For so many families out there, being in different countries is just tough. The ultimate goal is always to bridge that distance. Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down one of the key Australian government pathways designed to do exactly that, the Parent Visa Subclass 173.
It's such an emotional question, isn't it? How can parents join their kids who've started a new life in Australia? For anyone with adult children who are now settled citizens or permanent residents, trying to figure out the visa system can feel like a total maze. So where do you even start?
Okay, let's dive right in. We're going to zero in on one very specific option, the Contributory Parent Visa, Subclass 173. Now, the keyword here is temporary. Understanding how this temporary visa works is really the first most crucial step for a lot of families hoping to get back together. So what is this thing really? Well, the official definition from the Department of Home Affairs says it's a temporary visa for a parent of a settled Australian resident. And you know, those two words are everything. Temporary, which means it has an end date, and settled, which basically means your kids have been living in Australia and have established their lives.
All right, before we get any deeper, we need to have a very honest conversation. Let's talk about the two biggest hurdles every single family has to think about, the money and the time. These are the practical realities of this process, and you need to know them up front.
Let's start with time. The Subclass 173 visa lets a parent live in Australia for up to 2 years. Now, 2 years is a wonderful amount of time to spend with family, but it's so important to remember that it is a fixed-term visa. It has a clock on it. And now, the financial side. Wow. The cost for just one applicant starts at over 32,000 Australian dollars. There's a reason it's called a contributory visa. That huge fee is seen as a contribution to Australia's healthcare and social services. The good news, the government does let you pay this in 2 installments, which can help with the planning, but still, that's a serious number. The other major factor here is the wait. And look, the official advice couldn't be clearer. The demand for these parent visas is incredibly high, way higher than the number of spots available each year. What does that mean for you? It means you have to be ready for what the department itself calls lengthy processing times. Patience isn't just a virtue here, it's an absolute necessity. So with the timeline and the costs laid out on the table, the next big question is who can actually apply? Let's break down the main requirements to see if this path really fits your family's situation. The government really boils it down to these 3 main checks. First, you need to have a child who's an Australian citizen, a permanent resident, or an eligible New Zealander, and they have to be settled, which usually means they've lived in Australia for at least 2 years. Second, you have to agree to all the visa conditions, no exceptions. And third, and this is a big one, you can already have or be applying for another parent visa, the Subclass 870. You have to pick one lane and stay in it. Okay, so let's imagine for a second. Your application is successful, the visa is granted. What does life in Australia actually look like for those 2 years? What can you do? And just as importantly, what can't you do? This really lays out the balance of freedom versus responsibility, doesn't it? On one hand, you get the right to live, work, and even study anywhere in Australia, which is amazing. But the trade-off is crystal clear. You have to be completely self-sufficient. You will not be eligible for any government support payments. Now, this is probably the most important thing to wrap your head around. For most families, this 2-year visa isn't the final stop. It's actually designed to be part of a much bigger, long-term plan. Think of it as a bridge, not the final destination. And here's the crucial point. The Subclass 173 visa is built to be a stepping stone. It gets you into Australia, and while you're there, it allows you to apply for the permanent version, the Contributory Parent Visa Subclass 143. This whole 2-stage process is really designed to help families spread out that massive cost over a longer period. So, we end with a big question you have to ask yourselves. This visa is a huge investment, no doubt about it, both in time and in money. But it also offers a very clear, structured 2-step path toward permanent residency and finally reuniting your family in Australia. The real decision is weighing those massive upfront challenges against that ultimate priceless goal.